The chamber was huge. It floated in space above a planet called Consensus Prime. Inside, thousands of aliens sat in rows that went up and up like a stadium. Some had scales. Some glowed with light. Others were just clouds of gas in special containers. They were all part of the Galactic Council. For 10,000 years, these aliens had ruled the galaxy. They decided which species could have weapons. They decided who paid taxes. They decided everything. If anyone said no, the Council sent warships. Those warships always won. Today, they talked about a new problem. A small blue planet called Earth. Ambassador Vexithalion stood at the center. He looked like a giant crystal that changed colors when he spoke. His voice was cold and clear. "The humans have been found," he said. "Our scouts watched them. They have nuclear weapons. They have space stations. They are dangerous." The other council members whispered to each other. One of them, a large creature with 6 arms, spoke up. "What do you suggest?" "We give them the standard choice," Vexithalion said. "They join us and follow our rules, or we pacify them." Everyone knew what pacify meant. It meant the council would destroy them. The vote was quick. The message was sent to Earth through quantum communications. It arrived at the United Nations building in New York in seconds. The message was simple. Humans had to give the council 40% of all their resources. They had to let council soldiers control their solar system. They had to follow all council laws. They had 45 Earth days to say yes. If they said no, the council would come with warships. Secretary General Maria Okonkwo read the message 3 times. Then she called an emergency meeting. Every country sent representatives. For the first time in history, the whole world had to make one choice together. The meeting room was full. The American president sat next to the Chinese premier. The Russian leader talked quietly with the Indian prime minister. Small countries and big countries all had the same worried faces. "We should negotiate," said one diplomat. "Maybe we can give them less than 40%. "We should surrender," said another. "We cannot fight aliens who travel between stars." But General James Chen from the United States stood up. He was old, with gray hair and scars on his hands. He had fought in 3 wars. "We need to know something first," he said. "What does pacify really mean?" He nodded to a young woman with a laptop. She was Dr. Sarah Kim, head of the new Space Intelligence Division. She pressed a button and a hologram appeared. "We hacked their communications," Dr. Kim said. "We found records. The Council has pacified 47 species in the last 1,000 years. The hologram showed planets, beautiful planets with oceans and forests. Then it showed the same planets after pacification. They were gray and dead, no cities, no life. Pacification means genocide," Dr. Kim said quietly. "They kill everyone. They destroy everything." The room went silent. Some people started crying. Others looked angry. Secretary General Okonkwo stood up. She was a tall woman from Nigeria. She had spent her whole life trying to make peace between countries, but now she knew peace was not possible. "We vote," she said. "Do we surrender, or do we fight?" Every hand went up for fight. Every single one, Maria nodded. She walked to the communications console. The whole galaxy would see this message. "To the Galactic Council," she said into the camera. "We have received your message. We understand your terms. This is our answer." She paused. Behind her, General Chen stood with his arms crossed. Next to him, representatives from every nation stood together. "No," Maria said. The word was simple but strong. "We will not surrender. We will not give you our resources. We will not let you control our home. If you want Earth, you will have to take it." She smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had made a hard choice and would not change their mind. "Our full response will arrive shortly. Signed, Humanity." She cut the transmission. In the Galactic Council chambers, Vexithalion watched the message. He had expected fear. He had expected begging, but the human female had smiled. Why would someone smile when facing death? "They are foolish," he said to the other council members. "Prepare the pacification fleet. 200 ships should be enough." On Earth, General Chen turned to the assembled leaders. "We have 45 days, he said. "Let's get to work." The Galactic Council War Masters met in a private room. They looked at holographic maps of the Sol system. Earth was just a small blue dot. 200 ship, said War Master Thexnador. He was a massive reptilian creature with red scales. That is more than enough for one primitive planet. They have nuclear weapons, another War Master warned. Thexnador laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. Nuclear weapons? Those are toys. Our shields will stop them easily. I have fought 1,000 battles. These humans will see our ships and beg for mercy. The Council had fought many wars, but all of them had been easy. They would arrive at a planet with overwhelming force. The natives would surrender immediately. Sometimes the Council did not even need to fire a shot. They had never fought a real war. Not in 10,000 years. On Earth, every military base was busy. Soldiers worked day and night. Scientists pulled out weapons from secret research labs. Engineers modified everything they could find. In Nevada, American technicians loaded nuclear missiles onto rockets. But these were not normal rockets. They were designed to accelerate to incredible speeds. When they hit a target, the kinetic energy alone would be devastating. The nuclear explosion would just be extra. In Russia, engineers worked on railguns. These massive weapons used electromagnetic force to shoot tungsten rods at hypersonic speeds. Each rod weighed as much as a car. When it hit something, it would punch right through. In China, programmers created millions of AI-guided drones. Each one was small and cheap, but together they could swarm an enemy ship from 100 different directions at once. In Japan, scientists activated their experimental EMP weapons. These could release massive electromagnetic pulses that would fry enemy electronics. Every country brought their best and deadliest technology. Things that had been too expensive or too dangerous to use were now perfect for war. But Earth did not have many warships. They had cargo ships, mining vessels, and space stations, so they modified everything. A Brazilian cargo freighter got armor plating and missile tubes. An Indian mining ship had railguns welded to its hull. Even civilian space shuttles were loaded with explosives. If necessary, pilots would crash them into enemy ships. General Chen stood in the war room deep under Washington, D.C. Screens showed the construction work happening everywhere. He knew it was not enough. The aliens had better technology. They had more ships. They had fought for thousands of years. But humans had something else. Colonel Sarah Kim walked into the room. She had dark circles under her eyes from working without sleep. "General, we cracked their communications," she said. "We know their fleet composition. We know their standard tactics. We know their weaknesses." "Tell me," Chen said, "they haven't fought a real war in 10,000 years. All their battles are against primitives. They follow strict rules of engagement. They use predictable formations. They always give warnings before shooting." Chen smiled. It was a dangerous smile. "They fight like it's a game," he said. "We'll show them what real war looks like." Humanity had never stopped fighting. Every generation had wars. Terrible, brutal wars where millions died. Humans had learned every dirty trick. They knew how to ambush. They knew how to deceive. They knew how to sacrifice. The aliens fought for territory and resources. Humans fought for survival. In Tokyo, a young pilot named Kenji volunteered for the kamikaze squadron. His grandmother cried. His father was proud. Kenji knew he probably would not survive. But if his death could destroy an alien warship, it was worth it. Better to die fighting than live as slaves, he said. Thousands of others volunteered too, not because they wanted to die, but because they refused to surrender. On the 40th day, the Council fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system. 200 massive warships, each one bigger than an aircraft carrier. Their hulls gleamed with energy shields. Their weapons could destroy cities. War Master Thexnador stood on the bridge of his flagship. He looked at the primitive human vessels on his scanner. They were scattered and disorganized. Many were clearly civilian ships with weapons strapped on. "Pathetic," he said. "Open a channel. I will give them one last chance to surrender." The communication screen showed General Chen. He was wearing his military uniform. Behind him, Admiral Rodriguez from Spain stood at attention. Next to her was Admiral Zhang from China. "Humans," Thexnador said. "You see our fleet. You cannot win. Surrender now, and some of you may live as servants." Chen looked at the alien for a long moment. Then he smiled. It was the same smile Maria Okonkwo had given. Not angry, not scared. "Just certain you want Earth?" Chen said quietly. "Come and take it," he cut the transmission. Then he opened the fleet-wide channel. "All ships," he said. "All crews. You know what we're fighting for. Our families. Our freedom, our home. The enemy thinks we're weak. Let's prove them wrong," he paused. Every person on every ship listened. Weapons free. Show them what humans can do. The human fleet scattered. Ships broke formation and accelerated in unpredictable directions. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Where was the battle line? Where was the command structure? Then the first nuclear missile hit. The nuclear missile moved through space at incredible speed. The Council ship's sensors detected it, but too late. The warhead struck the energy shield. The shield held, barely. The alien crew breathed with relief. Then 50 more missiles hit at the same time. The shield collapsed. Nuclear fire engulfed the ship. Metal melted. Compartments exploded. The ship broke apart in seconds. War Master Thexnador stared in shock. One of his ships was just destroyed. "By primitives, return fire," he roared. "All ships, fire energy weapons." The Council fleet obeyed. Beams of pure energy lanced through space. They hit 3 human ships. The ships exploded into clouds of debris, but the other human ships did not retreat. They did not form a defensive line. Instead, they attacked from every direction. A swarm of Chinese drones surrounded an alien cruiser. Each drone was small, barely bigger than a person. The cruiser's point defense systems shot down hundreds, but there were thousands. They landed on the hull and exploded, one after another after another. The cruiser's armor held at first. Then the explosions found a weak point near the engine. The ship listed to one side, venting atmosphere. A Russian mining ship, the Volga, fired its railgun. The tungsten rod moved at 10 kilometers per second. It hit an alien destroyer right in the center. The rod went through the ship like paper, out the other side. The destroyer split in half. On the bridge of the human command ship Unity, General Chen watched the tactical display. His forces were taking heavy losses, but so were the aliens, and the aliens were confused. "They expected us to fight fair," he said. "They are learning we do not." Admiral Zhang nodded. She activated the next phase of the plan. "Dead ships activate," she said quietly. Throughout the battlefield, ships that appeared destroyed suddenly came to life. They had been playing dead, drifting with no power signatures. The aliens had ignored them. Now they fired their engines and rammed into the nearest Council ships at full speed. The impacts were catastrophic. Both ships died, but the aliens lost more. The Japanese pilot Kenji was in one of those ships. He aimed for an alien battlecruiser. In the last seconds, he thought of his family. Then his ship hit. The explosion was bright enough to be seen from Earth. Thexnador realized he was losing. This was impossible. His fleet was superior. His weapons were better. But the humans fought without rules, without honor. They sacrificed their own ships without hesitation. "Activate EMP countermeasures," his officer said. "What?" Thexnador said. Then the electromagnetic pulse hit. The Japanese EMP weapon had been fired from a modified satellite. The pulse was massive. It swept through the Council fleet. Sophisticated alien electronics fried instantly. Shields flickered and died. Weapon systems went offline. Communication arrays sparked and burned. Human ships were affected too, but less. Earth had been building EMP-resistant technology for decades because they feared nuclear war. The aliens had never needed such defenses. For precious minutes, the Council fleet was blind and helpless. Human forces pressed the advantage. Missiles launched. Railguns fired. Drones swarmed. On Earth, Dr. Sarah Kim and her team watched the battle through telescopes. They analyzed every weapon the aliens used, the frequency of their energy beams, the composition of their shields. Humans were good at one thing. Learning fast. "Got it," she said suddenly. "Their energy weapons use a standard frequency. If we reverse the polarity and reflect it back, we can use their own weapons against them." She transmitted the data to the fleet. Engineers on the Unity worked frantically. Within minutes, they modified their own captured energy weapon. An alien dreadnought fired at the Unity. The massive energy beam should have destroyed them. Instead, the Unity's new reflector shield bounced it back. The dreadnought's own weapon hit it. The ship's bridge exploded. Thexnador watched his fleet falling apart. 80 of his ships were destroyed or disabled. The humans had lost more, but they kept fighting with what they had left. He had 2 choices. Keep fighting and lose everything, or retreat and admit defeat. He chose survival. "All ships," he said. His voice was hollow. "Retreat. Back to Council space." The remaining Council ships turned and fled. They jumped to faster than light speed and vanished. On the Unity, General Chen slumped in his chair. They had won, but the cost was terrible. 60% of the human fleet was destroyed. Thousands of people were dead. Admiral Rodriguez had tears running down her face. She had lost her son in the battle. He had been piloting one of the kamikaze ships. "We won the battle," Chen said quietly. "But the war is not over. They will come back with more ships." On Earth, Secretary General Maria Okonkwo prepared another message. This one would be broadcast to the entire galaxy. "To the Galactic Council," she said, "you attacked our home. You threatened our families. You learned that humans do not surrender. We won this battle. If you return, we will win again. But we would prefer peace. The choice is yours." She paused. Then she smiled, that same dangerous smile. "Round 1 goes to Earth. Come back if you want round 2. The message spread through the galaxy. Species that had never heard of Earth suddenly knew about the primitives who had defeated the Council. Some were inspired. Others were terrified. But everyone was paying attention now. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. For the first time in 10,000 years, species were shouting at each other. Ambassador Vexthalion stood in the center, his crystalline body flashing red with anger. Around him, the representatives of 1,000 species argued. "We must send more ships," War Master Thexnador roared. His scales were darker now. He had barely escaped the battle. "We cannot let these primitives humiliate us." "How many more must die?" asked Trade Minister Quilara. She was an amphibious being from a water world. 80 ships lost. Thousands of crew dead for what? "Earth has no resources we need. This is not about resources." Thexnador slammed his massive fist on the console. "This is about control. If we let Earth defy us, every other species will try the same. The Council will collapse." In the private chambers, the elder species met in secret. These were the ancient ones who had founded the Council. They rarely spoke in public anymore. But today they were worried. An ancient being made of pure light spoke in a voice like wind chimes. Its name was unpronounceable to most species. "The humans are dangerous," it said, "not because they are strong, but because they are fast. They went from primitive tribes to space travel in 10,000 years. Most species take 1,000,000 years. If they survive," another elder said, "in 1,000 years they will be more powerful than us. In 10,000 years they will rule the galaxy," the light being pulsed with fear. That was why they had to destroy Earth. Not because humans were a threat now, but because of what they would become. While the Council argued, Earth was busy. Humanity had learned something important. They could win battles, but they needed allies. Secretary General Maria Okonkwo sent a message, but not to the Council. She sent it to every single species in the galaxy, thousands of different worlds. Each one received the same words: "People of the galaxy, we are humanity of Earth. The Council told us to surrender or die. We chose to fight, we won. But this is not just our fight. How many of you live under Council laws you did not choose? How many of you pay taxes to support their fleets? How many of you have lost your freedom?" She paused on the recording. "We do not want to rule you. We want to trade with you, learn from you, build something new together. A galaxy where every species has a voice, where strength does not mean tyranny. Join us, or at least do not fight us. The choice is yours." The message spread like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, people watched the human female speak. Many of them had never questioned the Council before. But now they wondered, why should the strong always rule? On a mining colony in the Outer Rim, a species called the Grin received the message. They were a reptilian people, smaller than humans but clever. For centuries, they had paid heavy taxes to the Council. They had asked for lower rates many times. The Council always said no. The Grin Council leader, a female named Zesik, watched the human message 3 times. Then she made a decision. She sent a secret transmission to Earth. "Humans," she said, "we believe you. We will help. We will share our knowledge of Council ships. We will not fight you. And if you win, we will join your new galaxy." She was not alone. 47 other species sent similar messages. Small species mostly, ones the Council had conquered long ago. They had been waiting for someone brave enough to resist. In the Council chambers, the vote was close. Half wanted to negotiate. Half wanted total war. Vexthalion cast the deciding vote. "We send the full fleet," he said. 2,000 ships. "We will pacify Earth completely, and we will make an example of any species that helped them." The vote passed. Barely. But not everyone agreed. When the fleet began to assemble, 200 ships quietly left their formations. Their crews refused to participate in genocide. Some were species who admired human courage. Others simply thought the war was wrong. The Council tried to arrest them, but they had already jumped to neutral space. On Earth, General Chen received daily intelligence reports. His analysts showed him the Council fleet assembling. 2,000 ships. It was 10 times larger than the first fleet. Can we win? Asked Admiral Zhang. Chen looked at the numbers. Earth had rebuilt its fleet. They had 600 ships now using salvaged alien technology. But 600 against 2,000 was still hopeless, unless they changed the rules. We do not fight them in open battle, Chen said. We use guerrilla tactics. Hit their supply lines, destroy their bases, make them chase us across the galaxy. We turn this into a war of attrition. Dr. Sarah Kim added another idea. We have allies now. The Grin gave us maps of every Council military installation. 40 other species are sharing intelligence. We know where they keep fuel, where they repair ships, where they store ammunition. Chen smiled his dangerous smile. Then we hit them all. At the same time. Before their fleet even reaches Sol, Earth sent Colonel Marcus Webb to a neutral space station. He was a former Marine, tall, scarred, with gray hair and hard eyes. He spoke bluntly. At the station, representatives from dozens of species gathered to hear him. The Council says they represent civilization, Webb said. But what civilization murders entire species for saying no? The Council is not civilized. They are just the biggest bullies in the galaxy. He pointed at the crowd. Humanity offers something different. Freedom, equality, trade between partners, not masters and slaves. Join us, help us build something better. Some species laughed. Some were interested. A few signed agreements right there. The Council heard about the meeting. They sent assassins to kill Webb. But human intelligence had predicted that. The assassins walked into a trap. They were captured and sent home with a message, try again, and we will respond in kind. 60 days after the first battle, the Council fleet departed for Earth. War Master Thexnador commanded from his new flagship. This time he would not fail. But as his fleet traveled, strange things happened. Supply depots exploded. Repair stations were sabotaged. Fuel convoys disappeared. Human strike teams, supported by alien rebels, hit targets across 15 light years. The Council had never fought a war like this. They expected armies and fleets, not invisible enemies striking from shadows. The galaxy watched. The impossible was happening. The humans were not just fighting, they were winning. 3 days before the Council fleet would arrive at Sol, General Chen stood in the command center. Around him, screens showed human ships scattered across the galaxy. They were not defending Earth. They were attacking. War Master Thexnador sat on his flagship bridge, studying tactical reports. His fleet had lost 15% of its fuel. 20 supply bases were destroyed. 8 repair stations were offline. The humans were fighting dirty. They should be defending their planet, he said to his officers. Why are they attacking us? No one had an answer. In 10,000 years, the Council had never faced an enemy like this, an enemy that refused to follow the rules of war. Admiral Zhang commanded a strike team near a Council ammunition depot. 50 human ships, supported by Grin allies, hit the facility hard. Railguns destroyed the defensive platforms. Missiles took out the storage units. In minutes, enough ammunition to supply 1,000 ships was gone. Dr. Sarah Kim coordinated psychological warfare. She broadcast messages to Council crews. Messages showing their leaders lying. Messages showing Council crimes. Messages proving that many species wanted the Council to fall. On some Council ships, crews began to question their orders. Why were they killing for an empire that oppressed everyone? Some ships reported equipment failures and dropped out of the fleet. Others simply refused to advance. Thexnador realized his fleet was fracturing. He had started with 2,000 ships. Now he had 1,700, and they were still days away from Earth. The Grin collective made their choice. Their leader Zesik broadcast to her people. We have served the Council for 1,000 years, she said. We have paid. We have obeyed. We have suffered. Today we choose freedom. The Grin stand with humanity. We will fight for a better galaxy. 150 Grin warships joined the human fleet. They were smaller than Council ships, but they were fast and their crews were motivated. Other species watched. The Council was not invincible anymore. More species began to whisper about rebellion. On the 5th day, the Council fleet reached the Sol system. Thexanador expected to see Earth's defenses waiting. Instead, he found chaos. Human ships appeared from everywhere, behind asteroids, from planetary shadows, even from inside the asteroid belt itself. They hit the Council formation from 6 directions at once, and they were not alone. Grin ships attacked from the flank. Ships from other species, ones who had secretly joined humanity, struck from above and below. Thexanador tried to organize his forces, but the humans would not stay still. They fired and moved, hit and ran, refused to engage in traditional battle lines. A Council dreadnought exploded, then another. Human kamikaze pilots rammed into key targets. Nuclear missiles found gaps in shields. Railgun rounds punched through armor. But this time, something new happened. In the middle of the battle, 300 Council ships stopped fighting. Their crews had mutinied. They refused to continue the genocide. The lead mutiny ship broadcast on all frequencies. "We are the crew of the Endless Light. We will not kill innocents. We will not serve tyrants. To our fellow Council members, think about what we are doing. We are murdering people who only wanted freedom. This is wrong." On Thexanador's bridge, his officers looked at each other. Some nodded. Others looked away. Even his own crew was losing faith. General Chen saw the mutiny spreading. He opened a channel to all ships, both human and alien. "Attention all vessels," he said. "This ends now. Not with Earth's destruction, not with endless war, but with a choice. We offer peace, real peace between equals." He paused. "The Council system is broken. It rules through fear. It destroys those who disagree. But we can build something better. A galactic assembly where every species has a vote. Where disputes are settled with words, not weapons. Where the strong protect the weak instead of exploiting them." Admiral Zhang added her voice. "We do not want your surrender. We want your cooperation. Join us in creating a new galaxy. Or return home and tell your leaders that humanity will not be conquered. The choice is yours." Thexanador listened to the human words. He looked at his fleet. Half his ships were destroyed or disabled. A third of the survivors had mutinied. His supply lines were cut. His repair stations were gone. His ammunition was depleted. He had 2 choices. Fight to the last ship and accomplish nothing, or accept that the humans had won. He made the hardest decision of his life. "All Council ships," he said. His voice was broken. "Cease fire. All ships, cease fire." The battle stopped. The silence was strange after hours of weapons fire and explosions. Thexanador opened a channel to the human command ship. "General Chen," he said, "you have won. I request negotiations." Chen nodded slowly. "Agreed. Meet us at the neutral station in the Kepler system. Bring representatives who actually want peace." 3 weeks later, the negotiations began. Earth sent Secretary General Maria Okonkwo. The Council sent Ambassador Vexithalion and Trade Minister Quilara. Dozens of other species sent observers. Maria presented 2 documents. "Option 1, she said. "The Council dissolves. We create a new galactic assembly. Every species gets 1 vote regardless of size or power. Disputes are settled by a court of neutral judges. Military forces are voluntary and defensive only." She put down a second document. "Option 2. We continue fighting until one side cannot fight anymore. Millions more will die. Planets will be destroyed. The galaxy will burn." Vexithalion's crystal body flashed with different colors. Anger, fear, sadness, finally acceptance. "We choose peace," he said quietly. The negotiations took months. Not all Council species agreed. Some left to form their own empire in distant sectors. They swore they would never accept human rule. But most stayed. Most voted to create the Galactic Assembly. The vote was not even close. 5 years later, the Assembly thrived. Over 3,000 species were members. They traded freely. They shared technology. They resolved disputes through debate instead of war. Earth had become a center of innovation. Human universities accepted students from across the galaxy. Human engineers helped other species improve their technology. Human diplomats mediated conflicts. The old council species admitted something surprising. They had needed humanity's defiance. For thousands of years they had grown stagnant. No one challenged them. No one pushed them to be better. Humans had kicked down their door and forced them to change. And the galaxy was better for it. Admiral Chen, now retired, gave a speech at the 5-year anniversary celebration. "We did not win because we were stronger," he said to the crowd of humans and aliens. "We won because we refused to lose. We fought with everything we had. We made allies of enemies. We never gave up." He smiled. That is the human way. And now, it is the galaxy's way too. When someone tells you to surrender, you smile and say no. When someone threatens your freedom, you fight back. When someone says the fight is hopeless, you prove them wrong. The crowd cheered. Humans and aliens together. The council sent Earth a threat. Earth returned with guns and a grin. And in doing so, we freed the galaxy. Not just for us. For everyone. He raised his glass. To freedom. To cooperation. To a galaxy where everyone has a voice. And to humanity, who taught the universe that the underdog can win. The assembly hall erupted in applause. Former enemies drank together. Old hatreds were forgotten. A new era had begun. Outside the windows, ships from 1,000 species flew in formation. Human vessels next to Grin cruisers. Council frigates that had defected flying alongside mining ships turned warships. The galaxy had changed, and it would never be the same again. Maria Okonkwo stood on a balcony watching the ships. Dr. Sarah Kim stood beside her. "Do you think it will last?" Sarah asked. Maria smiled. It was a different smile now. Not dangerous, just hopeful. "Nothing lasts forever," she said. "But we have given the galaxy something it never had before. A chance. A real chance to be better." She looked up at the stars. "And if anyone tries to take that away, well, they will learn what we learned. Humans do not surrender. And now, neither does anyone else." In the distance, the sun set on a peaceful galaxy. For the first time in 100,000 years, most of its inhabitants slept without fear. The age of tyrants was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And humanity, the species that refused to bow, had made it possible. The story of how Earth defeated the Galactic Council spread to every corner of the galaxy. It became legend. Parents told it to their children. Teachers taught it in schools. Soldiers studied it in academies, and the lesson was always the same. Sometimes the only way to make peace is to be willing to fight for it. Sometimes the only way to earn respect is to refuse disrespect. And sometimes a smile and a gun are exactly what the universe needs. Earth had sent the galaxy a message written in fire and sacrifice and courage. We will not be conquered. We will not be slaves. We will be free. And if you stand with us, so will you. That message changed everything, and the galaxy was better for it.